Last time, on Asmiliath adventures. Standing atop a hill that overlooks the enormous dragonhead statue, our party discuss the best plan going forward as their goal appears to grow closer and closer. After a brief disagreement with their guide, our heroes descend the slope down into the basin of the swamp, beginning to truly appreciate the size of this monument as it towers over them. Prodding the open mouth with curiosity, the Golden Hearts discover that the interior of this cave secretes a nasty and stinging acid that has diluted itself into the moist passageways. Figuring that there was no easy way to avoid this hazard, our party take one final deep breath of fresh air and descend into the dragon's mouth. Quickly they meet the kobold inhabitants that protect this hidden shrine. As the venomous creatures cautiously eye the group conversing with the charismatic Decker, I totally missed a word there. Despite the tension, Decker works together in agreement with the slimy monsters, promising to take care of a pale worm in exchange for safe passage deeper into the cave. Cautiously moving through the overgrown hallways and feeling the eyes of the guardians constantly on them, the Golden Hearts make their way further underground and closer to the ever-present thumping heart. Finally, after navigating the twisting tunnels they had been led towards, Thor finds himself face to face with a massive parasite that has made its home in the dark. After a brief chase and a half-formed plan to lure it down another passage, the party managed to gut the wretched worm, moments before it crushes their companion. It is February 2nd, deep below the surface of Asmiliath, the only noises being the gentle sound of plopping water and the thundering thumping of the nearby heart. Thor finds himself pressed with his back against the wall, the dead worm's mouth still in his grasp. Decker, who had severed the lengthy monster in two, finds himself completely drenched in the bile of the great beast. Valoran and Jarek stand with the other companions to the party, a small and dim candle shakily glowing in the fat bard's hands, as their enemies' guts slosh past their ankles. So, Golden Hearts, in your various states after slaying this creature, you find yourselves lurched back into your adventure. Whichever one of you want to take the lead, I suppose.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as the candle, how long ago did we light it?
So it's an hour-long candle, if I remember the description correctly, and it's probably been like 2-3 minutes. You probably still have a fairly long period of time, so.
Okay.
Jarek, clean me up,
Yeah.
please. This is disgusting. Filthy.
Yeah.
Any help?
Jack will find a safe little spot in the wall to jam the candle, and then let it stick there and string out his lute for some prestidigitation to just push the muck off of him.
So, Jarek, as you wield your lute and play your diddle and feel the normal pattern of what you usually do to cast prestidigitation, hate that word, you don't feel the feedback that you usually do. You don't feel the effect actually transferring over to your companion, as Decker is still stood head to toe, basically only his eyes like being shown bright white through the muck that he's now covered in, with no change.
No, hold on. I got something else for that. Jack will get into his bag and pull out a spare sock and just like show me. Kind of wipe that off. Yeah.
Please, Jarek, please speak of this to no one.
No. And Jarek will try and commit this to memory.
So Thor... No, yeah.
Thor,
Hello.
are you all right?
Define all right. I'm kind
Are
of
you-
stuck.
Are you near any clean water?
I actually don't know. It doesn't.
There is water there, but it would be the same kind of semi-acidic water that you guys have been traversing through this entire time.
Probably not the kind you would want.
Take the jaw.
What?
Tear off the jaws.
All right. And I guess I'll like. Is there a point where it hinges like together?
Yeah, so I mean there's like three distinct kind of beaks, I guess you would call them, where it's much thicker and wider where they connect like at the jaw and then come to a point. So I guess down where like the biggest connection is, you just kind of like almost like a crab leg maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say if it like connects at a certain point, if I can like hit it with my pickaxe and see if I can break it apart, or just somehow wherever they connect, or however I can tear it apart. Really.
Are you still raging? I assume you wouldn't be because you just kind of like cracked it, right?
Yeah. If this is like at the end of
Mm-hmm.
combat, it lasts for I think a minute.
So I'll go ahead.
So-
Go ahead and give me a strength check, and I would imagine you'd get advantage on that.
Okay.
And then yeah, whatever roll you get, you can go ahead and tell me if it doesn't pass through.
It was a 21 and a 15, so 21.
Okay. So in the kind of confined space that you're in, also you're wielding a torch in some variety at this point as well. You would kind of like shove the head off to one side of the tunnel, kind of like get a better glance, maybe even like jam the torch up in like the fleshy part of its neck. I mean, neck, I guess at this point. And then you would leverage your pickaxe, a nice long heavy swing again, the weight of the weapon actually being the actual weight. You feel the head connect, kind of digging under where the jaw connects to its flesh, and you hear this kind of satisfying yet kind of disturbing crunching noise before the jaw kind of goes not limp but loose and kind of almost like clatters off to the side.
Okay. And was that like all the way? So like, is the jaw all the way off, or do I need to do it again?
All you have to do is just kind of like a stray bit of cardboard. It's kind of stuck. You just do a little like.
Gotcha. Okay, now what?
Is there a way around it?
I think we talked about this like at the very end. Has it like deflated at all?
So it would be like kind of slowly oozing out its mass, like a little bit down the cave that they're in and a little bit down like the cave that's coming from. It would take a little bit of time for it to like begin to fully depressurize. I don't know what the term is, but it is like limper than it was. You could reasonably like, I guess, squeeze
Yeah.
yourself above it if you absolutely had to.
So could I like those when they have like, you know, what are your whatever fears people have where it's like the stuff pressing down on you?
Mhm.
Can I just kind of like push my way through it, like around it, I guess?
Yeah, so like a bouncy castle kind of deflating on top of you. You kind of
Yeah.
get atop the worm and just start like crawling across it, and you feel like the slime of it kind of like scraping against your chest. Are you trying to bring the jaw with you as well?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so the headcanon I'm going with is you lay the jaw down like a surfboard or like a paddleboard, and then you just like basically drag yourself over the top of this thing, kind of back through the cave system. So give it some time, but you'll eventually make it back to your companions.
Okay.
Can we get a line on the map so I get an idea of like where all the worm body is?
So let me get rid of this little squiggle I did. As far as you are aware, well, you know for a fact that this tunnel is stuffed full. That's like where the front of the worm is, the head facing where Thor was. And then some distance back this way, it's full. But you don't know how far that's now full.
How the hell are we gonna get through this?
I'm going to wait. Does message still work if I try to message one of the creatures?
Yes, and you don't have to be within line of sight for that?
Don't know. Don't think so.
Okay.
I think you just have to send it
No.
in their direction.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't have to follow a straight line and can freely travel around corners or through openings.
Okay.
120 feet. So I would
Yeah.
just message them that Grey Worm is dead,
Pale worm, I'd imagine.
or Pale Worm.
Yep. So you would send that out. A few seconds would pass, and you only in the response you only hear like their whispering, right? It's not like other audible sounds around them. Yeah.
Yeah, just you can reply on a whisper that only I can hear.
Okay. So a few seconds would pass. Eventually, you would get the reply of, "Good, good."
And then I'd reply back, now what?
You get a much longer pause this time. Eventually, the response would come to you. Go deep, much deeper.
All right. Well, I spoke with our erstwhile friends, and they tell us to go deeper. Maybe there'll be dry ground and a bath and a bed.
And are we gonna have to chop it up to get deeper in?
Gannon would kind of step up behind you and put a hand on your shoulder, Jarek. We could always just make a little conveyor belt and scoop.
Decker,
Yes.
but do you think your new friends would be hungry? Would they eat this thing?
I don't know. Let me ask them. Excuse me. Would you like to eat the pale worm?
You would get back a much more prompt response of, poison, death, pale worm, poison, death, pale worm.
Okay, they don't want to eat the pale worm. I suggest we don't either.
So Valorant, having already seen Thor subject himself to this woods, just dives in, just with a grunt, starts pushing past the same way Thor had to do, but this time the other direction.
Okay. So yeah, Thor, as you are like just kind of pushing yourself out of this like makeshift birth canal, like just getting your chest and your arms out of the like tighter space, your head popping out, you see your companions in the dim light. You know, Jarek is kind of like softly trying to clean up Decker. Decker's still covered in gross crap. Valorant kind of like gives the group one last like, then starts heading towards the other passage.
I guess I would have the torch with me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're doing this again. Oh boy. All right, and I'll just follow Valorant.
Left behind all decorum when we agreed to go barefoot through the swamp. Let's just get through this.
Says the man who's not covered in filth, muck, and worm shit.
I am that man no longer.
Well, that was me. I was the one covered in worm shit.
But now we all are. If I dive in.
So, Jarek, before you can follow your companions, Clara would kind of speak up from the back of the pack and be like, I think we're going to, stay here for now, let you scout ahead.
Yeah. Make sure the candle doesn't go out, and best of luck. And he'll try and fit into that. I assume with Thor in a
Yeah, with
peak
everyone
there,
else going ahead, you'd have a little bit easier time getting through there.
just
All right.
move
So
through.
I'm gonna-
everyone,
I'll use it like a spear head, and I'll just keep driving
are you
forward.
still carrying the jaw with you, or are you leaving that behind?
I'm gonna carry it with me, and I'm gonna just like push through
Okay.
the muck with it.
Gotcha. Everyone, go ahead and give me a round of Constitution saves. All right.
And if we're like per our
Mm-hmm.
earlier chat, that would be a 10 for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If that's
Gotcha.
the case.
Okay.
If I'm proficient
Hey.
in the save, do I get it with advantage or just the
No, just
modifier?
your proficiency modifier, yeah. Thor, what did you get?
I
sir?
rolled a natural 1 for a total of 7.
All right. So, Jarek, maybe it's the fact that you're the last in line. Maybe it's because you're used to filthier standards throughout your life. But as you are bringing up the rear, and very unfortunate for you, you hear up ahead of you first, a little bit of like, "Ugh, and then each companion in turn, as they're basically army crawling over this parasite, fresh pockets of pus and filth kind of being disturbed by their movements and spraying them in the face and getting in their mouth and covering their features. You hear all three other golden hearts retch, vomit, spit up a little bit, and as you are forced to follow behind in their offerings.
It's okay, guys. I've thrown up plenty of times. You'll get through it. Don't worry. I'm normally a sympathy puker, but like, we're just watching.
So gross.
Watching
Oh
you
my
lie.
God.
So
Eric,
maybe
just no more talking. I'm nauseous enough.
Oh
So
yeah,
Val-
you don't want more of it getting in your mouth. I'm sorry.
there you go. Valorant, are you leading the pack, or is Thor leading the pack in this endeavor?
I think I started going this way first.
Okay, so let me plop you out there. And everyone can move themselves behind him. There he goes here. So after probably about 10 or 15 minutes of crawling through this tight space, being filled or hit with this pungent, disgusting smell over and over and over again, your stomach doing flips as you are forcing yourself deeper and deeper, eventually the body begins to kind of slope into a pointed tail, giving you more and more clearance as you finally tumble almost out of this tight space, eventually finding yourself on solid ground yet again, as about like a quarter of the tunnel is taken up by another 30 or 40 feet of this worm's tail, but then after that, you were finally kind of free in a open cavern again, or an open tunnel again.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
I would throw up again. Oh my God. I think that was the worst I've experienced so far.
Here, Jericho will pull out his water skin. Just take a drink.
Okay. I'll just drink a little bit to get the vomit taste or the worm taste or whatever taste out of my mouth.
So as you all free yourselves, Ganon would bring up the rear behind Jarek after you've all hit the cave opening. He would push himself out, stand back up. You'd see him reach for a small vial on his chest, pinch his nose, take a quick swig. All right, lads. Are we going deeper, I imagine?
What was that you drank?
That's the cowfish poison.
Oh, that's right.
Really
As
helps
if the-
clear the those sinuses.
We didn't push through that for nothing. Thor, you could take the lead from here if you don't mind. Or hand the torch up.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. I got it. And I'll just.
Gentlemen,
I assume we.
would you like me to scout ahead?
You know, if you want to, that's fine. I don't know what could be worse down here.
Excuse me, Valoran. And so I'm going to just try to stealthily walk down the path. Go
Okay.
slow. I'll be looking for traps, obviously.
Go ahead, give me perception and stealth then.
Okay. Not good. And stealth.
And I'm assuming you're moving outside of the torchlight if you're scouting ahead, or are you letting them kind of like keep you just at the fringe of the light, or?
No, I'll be going ahead out of the torchlight.
Okay. So as you leave the light behind, it is basically impossible to discern anything in front of you. You're almost kind of like blindly leading yourself by like feeling the wall and kind of almost like half crawling across the ground, but you're so deft at moving through tight spaces or going unseen in the darkness, especially having to sneak out of a dark window in the middle of the night when things don't go your way. You make very decent progress to the point where the companions behind you just lose all track of you, and you can't even hear any noise echoing from the distance that he goes. But yeah, you would be able to kind of just go as far forward as you'd want to. The observations you would make would be a lot more limited in the dark, but you'd be able to get a general feel of where you're going.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go around and see. I mean, I guess about here would be as far
Okay.
enough.
Well, I guess I can't really give you too much to see because you're looking down at a complete dark hallway, but yeah.
All right. I would just I would message back to Valoran. It's safe to where I'm at. Just proceed forward.
Righto.
So is this the general routine you guys are going to do before you find something?
I think that might be for the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So eventually, what I will reveal to you, Decker, is you will come to a fork in the path. Let me yoink. There you go. And that will be where you get to before there's actually anything of note.
You want me to move my
Yep.
tile there? Okay. All right. And then I'd like to, I guess I'd like to take over Aurora at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And she has dark vision, so I'd just like to scout around with her. She flies. She's an owl, so she's pretty silent, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll go ahead and reveal this to you, and I'll describe this in a moment. But if you have her go check the other passageway, I can kind of give that to you as far as you want, if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tired of
Yeah. Give me
getting
a second.
ambushed in small spaces.
I gotta do a bunch of clicking here. Give me one moment. This is the crappy thing about having to do the Fog of War. Might be a little bit rougher with this one. Oh, there we go.
I'm surprised we didn't have more torches.
What, the golden hearts that are always prepared?
I know.
Maybe
So,
we'll
Got
find-
so
Decker, as you reach this fork in the road and then use your familiar to scout the area, before you send her down the longer passageway that you let her fully explore before coming back, you notice that where this tunnel kind of diverges, to the left there is this very thick, overgrown wall of vines and leaves and various bits of vegetation. But peering through that, it looks like there's a small cubby kind of tucked behind this natural wall. that's gone a bit undisturbed for the most part. And just peering through the cracks, you see the general shape of a humanoid skeleton kind of slouched over in the corner, kind of like clutching a few things in its arm, just kind of over there in the darkness. So that would be the thing that you see kind of off and to your left.
All right. So if I move here, is there anything out of the ordinary about this ledge that goes up?
It's not a ledge. That's like the wall of vegetation. So like you'd probably have to like hack some vines away or kind of tear a few bits of like tree and root out of the way to actually get in there.
Okay, I'll just wait for the party to get here.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And then you would also have Aurora scout that entire kind of loopy section off to the east.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It appears an adventurer has met his demise. Or did I see that or not?
Yeah, you can see a skeleton back there, but you have to like peer through the small cracks in the vegetation.
Just kind of hold the torch up to it, see if we can see anything else.
So yeah, when I get some light, I'll start trying to hack the vines and get up closer to it.
Okay.
Once I can see.
Go ahead, give me a perception check. Okay. So using Thor's torchlight and kind of shifting some of the more movable or pliable vines out of the way, you get a more clear view into this weird cubby. There is probably like a rather average height human skeleton that is slouched over to the side. You can distinctly notice right off the bat that his left arm, where like the lower forearm and the hand should be, is missing. It's kind of like missing at the elbow, basically. His right arm is clutched around a few soggy and kind of destroyed papers that are almost kind of like draped over the skeletal form with a bit of like smeared ink on it. There is a discarded inkwell and quill kind of like covered in a bit of, I guess, overgrowth or moss on the ground, and this broken stray oil lantern that's kind of like almost become one with the wall. And then there's the vague remnants of some sort of gray robe that he might have been wearing that's kind of still clinging to like his legs, and a bit of the hood still on the skull, but that would be what you would see.
Jarek, bring your candle here.
Oh no. I left it with
It's okay. Here you go. And
Right,
I'll hand him the torch.
All right. So can I read anything on those papers, or?
I'd be too far away to read them from here.
All right, I'll get closer.
You'd have to get through the wall, which would require like ripping stuff down. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay. You can either give me a roll or just take some time to do it, but it would be a rather arduous task. These things are thick, deeply grown roots that are kind of twisted into the wall, so you might have to, have Valorant use his glaive a bit, or Thor uses pickaxes almost like a lever to kind of like stretch things out and break it. But through a group collective effort, you would eventually be able to at least get enough space for one of you to kind of slide through or open up enough of a gap to move forward.
Okay.
So are you going and retrieving the papers, sir?
Yeah, after one last look at the ground before I hop up there.
Do you want to be the person that reads these papers to the group, sir?
I know. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I write these final pages with a mixture of emotions filling my heart. Part of me knows that the decision I made was the correct path, but the swelling feeling of terror is something I cannot ignore. I think back to the many times that Master Cedric calmed my fears and explained our purpose in this world. I was always envious that I can't read this word, though perhaps that's why I was elected to see this task through. There's a little hope in my heart that these words will ever find another living soul, but can't read it. Her hair always smelled of hay, and that small memory brings me much needed comfort in this dark cavern. My injury makes it difficult to write, and the pain has clouded my mind, so I will rest a while and add another entry when I awake. October 3rd or 4th. I don't know anymore. My lantern is running out of oil, so I fear that writing will soon be impossible, so despite my condition, I'm going to attempt to... Again, the word is unclear. He gave me options, though I could only fulfill one of them. The pain was intense. It almost made me lose my resolve, but from some willpower inside of me, I managed to place the corrupted piece into his protection. He's promised that no living soul will be able to retrieve the piece unless their intentions are pure, and if legends are to be believed about these beings, his word will remain intact long after I am gone. That small bit of hope is the only thing that drives my hand now. Hunger is setting in. I feel my body weakening and the phantom singing of my absent limb. If someone... Again, I can't read this. Let the people know that I did as asked. I wish my life wasn't the price, but I've done my part and hope that others do the same. The ever-faithful and modest Hollow Keeper, soulless son Harfit, Brendan Harfit of Coal Spear. No living soul will be able to retrieve the piece unless their intentions are pure. Huh. I look back at over my shoulder at the group and kind of shrug.
This was the guy who delivered the piece. He didn't make it out for some reason.
Why did he have to attach it to himself?
What? Attach it to himself?
Well, he's missing, parts of himself.
He very clearly writes that
It was
that
an
it was a
injury.
great struggle in order to hand it over.
Well, then it has to be here somewhere. If he was successful.
He said somebody with only the purest intentions can get there. So if we assume that Novin doesn't have pure intentions, doesn't that mean he can't get to it?
You can have pure intentions, but purely evil. Who is the he he's referring to? He said he gave me options, though I could only fulfill one. The pain was intense. It almost made me lose my resolve, but from some willpower inside of me, I managed to place the corrupted piece into his protection. He has promised that no living soul will be able to retrieve the piece unless their intentions are pure.
One assumes Ziggurat.
So, this is splendid news. Ziggurat very likely is nothing we'll have to fight.
Yes, it didn't make him out to seem as if he was, a protector of sorts. Also, I think if we were gonna fight him, we'd already be losing because we're inside of him.
Or the situation could simply have amused him. Let us not get ahead of ourselves.
I do want to point one thing out. If Ziggurat seems to be, doing a good job about protecting it, then that's fine, right? We don't need to take it with us.
That's my question.
Actually, a very good point, Jarek. Perhaps it bears a conversation with Ziggurat once we're there. Maybe he has some perspective we do not.
Onward, then.
How is the thump thump sound?
It's distant at this point. It hasn't changed in like pattern or resonance, but you've grown farther away from it.
And I look at the oil lantern Is it still functional, just minus oil?
Maybe. I mean, it has been overgrown a fair bit, and it's been living in a moist cave for some time, so you could try it.
I'm gonna take that thing. Yeah, we don't have
Okay.
any oil right now, but
Yeah.
and then looking around, is there anything else of note?
No, it appears that like he didn't have any sort of jewelry or anything on. It was simply just, the gray cloak or hood that he was wearing, and then the few pieces of paper and his quill was the majority of his possessions.
I take the paper and arrange it and hop back down and pass it on to Jarek to keep with the rest of his utensils of writing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Actually, can you grab that quill too?
Grab the kill.
So
Hey,
Decker,
You might want to grab the cloak if it's still good to wipe yourself off. I just,
the cloak would be a bit moldy, moist. Probably not something you want to
It'll do
Add
to wipe off
worm bile.
some of the it's okay.
So Decker, when you had Aurora scouting out the other passageway that kind of winds around, that place where it kind of like widens out at the bottom at the south of the map, the obsidian shards that you'd seen the swamp people use, using them as their tools and their weapons and stuff like that, and it also supposedly floats from the deep and then out into the swamp. Getting down to that section of the cave, Aurora would stare down this long, maybe like 100-foot long descending staircase of pure obsidian. The walls, the ceiling, the stairs themselves go straight down until you see a distant glowing green room that it lets out to at the bottom of the descent.
I'm not sure, but I'm fairly certain that the object of our current quest is close at hand, gentlemen.
Let's not waste any more time.
Yes. I mumble to myself.
lead on.
How we wasted any time. Read it down note and killed a fucking worm, but
Valoran periodically is like spitting in that sort of recently sick way.
So you'd all would wind your way around to down to the south?
Yeah.
All right. So before we switch maps, I'll do a little bit of describing. I'm assuming you're just descending down the staircase. That's the plan?
I'll
And I'm sure-
take up the rear.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do the walls, are they like pure obsidian too?
Mhm.
Like, is it just an
Yeah,
obsidian
and this
tube
cave
downwards?
is a square versus like a cylinder. The walls are like sharp angles. But yeah, the walls are flat. They're not like polished smooth obsidian, but they're a lot finer cut than like the rough cave that you've been kind of moving in right now. The ceiling between like the stair step and the ceiling is probably like 10, 12 feet tall. So it's even a bit taller than you as you're moving down. It's a pretty large space, probably about 30 feet across. So
And how tall, like, or I guess how tall is it from like the bottom of the stairs to the top?
you mean like how far it goes down in depth?
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably going to be like another 90 feet below the surface of the world as you descend, somewhere in that range. So, all right. So as the party goes down these steps, or I guess you all are barefoot, so each pad of your bare feet kind of like echoes down the sharp edge of the stairs and then kind of races back up. You just hear this like plunk, tick, 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 thump, tick, 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 with each step descending downwards. Everyone kind of silently just making progress. Ganon, for once, holding his mouth as he's also taking in this somewhat strange and alien experience. It's not every day that you walk through a dragon and then down an obsidian staircase. You're probably walking for about 2 or 3 minutes down this staircase. It seems like an incredibly long time, also because the steps are so shallow that you're almost kind of like turning your foot like 90 degrees to the right to just like get good purchase with each step down. But eventually, as you're reaching the end of the staircase and you can start getting glimpses of what it lets out into, you hear the trickling noise of water more prominent, kind of coming from the space. You hear a low, steady, heavy breathing noise as well. And then I guess I'll switch you over to the next map. Who is leading the charge? Or entering the room first, I guess is what I should say.
I think I'm either first or second.
All right.
I'll follow along with him.
So as the party hits the final step and walks into this room, you are met with a sight that is overwhelming, the majority of which is focused on this large, strange, almost statuesque beast standing off to the right. But before you is this almost reverse bowl-shaped room where it's kind of a small sloping floor that kind of empties out at the bottom, and the roof is this large dome that probably at its peak is about 60 feet tall. There's long pillars, various areas in the room that kind of connect the floor to the ceiling, and there's streams of that lime green neon acid kind of trailing from the walls and through various cracks in the floor to what appears to be this stone carved, decorated cauldron in the middle of the room. On the far side of the cauldron, you see this large dragon head that's probably, I don't know, 20 feet long, 30 feet long, almost twice the size of Thor himself, has been placed to almost kind of hold up or prop up this large stone structure. It's this very awe-inspiring sight because it's clear that this skull of a skeleton is a real skull of a dragon that has now been used as decoration. Around the room, you would also spot the exploding mushrooms from earlier and the dragon's tongue fungi that hang from the ceiling. You'd see the deep, ancient roots of the willow tree kind of digging in from the stone and across the floor. But after glancing at the room and turning your attention to the beast, it appears to be practically a toad on steroids. He's maybe 30, 40 feet tall. He is broad as a barn. His eyes are these dark black slits that just stare at you emotionlessly. His mouth hasn't moved as he just basically stands slightly hunched over like a bodybuilder that just benched his max weight, just very slowly kind of raising and lowering, deep breaths kind of coming out through his nose, and he would just be standing there watching you as you enter the room.
Hey, Decker, you wanna try and talk to it?
I nod to Jarek and look at him and message him in succession in common and in Draconic. Hello, friend.
You would see his eyes squint ever so slightly. Just the slightest twitch of his features that show that at least he's acknowledged your noise. Before he turns his massive weight up, his large head shifting up towards the top of the dome where his eyes peer up into the darkness. And he waits there for a moment, this response seeming rather strange to you, before you see a faint green tendril of energy, of power, trailing from the center of the dome down into the middle of the room. The green light that's kind of emanating from the cauldron glowing brighter before this tendril kind of twirls and twists and moves into itself and eventually slithers into the frog's ear, all of the trail end of it kind of slipping into his head before he turns to you, and his mouth drops almost mechanically before the black of his eye kind of rolls into the back of his head. And as you all stand there just kind of watching this process go down, unsure how to take this strange look, you would hear in the back of your mind, feeling as if the whatever is speaking to you is actually in your mind. It doesn't sound like it's coming from a direction or from a source. It's just inexplicably there, and you would all hear,
Who disturbs Ziggurat of the Night?
I would look over at Valorant and Thor and Jarek and
We seek that which Harfit stored here.
Hoff. The Mortal Man?
The Hollow Keeper.
I was wondering when someone would come for what he placed.
We are lords of men, here under a king's auspice, to retrieve the peace.
Lords, kings, you're all mortal men, all ants scurrying for scraps of food. Why do you seek this peace?
we are attempting to stop Tordan from return. As far as we know, we are pure of heart and our intentions. But to be honest with you, we don't know much more than that.
You sound so resolute. We might be pure. We might have the right intentions. Doesn't
Yes,
exactly fill me with confidence.
In my estimation, most people who are sure of themselves are usually wrong. We come for your perspective, Ziggurat. Quite obviously, the peace is quite safe in your protection, but we've been charged to collect them all to keep them away from the return. What are your opinions on this matter?
there'd be a pretty lengthy pause. The giant toad warrior that's still kind of just standing like a statue in front of you, his mouth just opening agape. It's not moving with any sort of voice. It's just, almost like a record player just producing this sound in your minds. But after several minutes, you would hear faintly off in the distance behind you that heartbeat that had picked up slightly when you had called out Ziggurat's name at the entrance pick up just a little bit faster. Where again, it might have been like a minute between beats. Now it's down to like 40 seconds and maybe 30 seconds. As the time begins to progress, you just hear this doom, doof, doosh, doosh, kind of trailing down the staircase behind you. But eventually, the response would come.
Before I decide your fate, I think introductions are in order.
He's got a point.
I'm
That's fair.
Thor. Hello, big dragon.
I'm Jarek. I was previously affiliated with a being you may have met before, Ophilus, Vindsvept guidance. We don't talk as much now, but if it helps your decision making process to let us live, he did tell us to kind of start this journey a while back. That helps. And you're right. Talk to my friend here.
Valorant, say something.
I am Count Valorn Athelvain of the Kingdom of Folk. And I will not be deterred.
Who amongst you is the most convinced of their own quest?
Well, that would certainly be Valoran. Decker, by the way. Would you prefer Draconic or is Common to your liking?
In my domain, thoughts, feelings, words, I understand all.
Ah, then you've got quite a grasp of our fear right now. At least mine, anyway. Never thought I'd be talking with a dead dragon. Are you dead? What are you,
He's
anyway?
timeless, don't insult him.
Decker, you have no concept of fear. When men first came to Asmiliath, the reason they called me the Night is I would blot out the sun. I would destroy their harvests. I would stretch across the sky for days, for weeks. Children were born and died beneath my gaze. Standing here before me, there could be nothing in your life that measures up.
Yep, you quite nailed it right on the head. I'm glad you've mellowed in your old age.
But to answer your question, Thor, I am asleep. I am hibernating. I am waiting for the right time to return and stretch my influence farther than my domain.
Oh, wait, how do you know when the right time is? You just feel it? Your thump picks up?
If Valoran or Lord Athelvain, whatever you mortals want to call him, is the strongest amongst you, step forward.
Know about the strongest, but you know Valorant, you can step forward if you want.
I will not claim strongest, but I will test myself in this way.
So,
How noble of you.
So Valorant, as you step forward, immediately as your foot swings to take the step, you would catch that the large toad warrior matches your step. So for each step you take forward, he would step up towards you. Again, his eyes are rolled back, his mouth is hanging open, but he would step up into your space to the point where he's only 3 or 4 feet away from you, where you have to crane your neck to look up at him as he is staring down at you with this lifeless expression, but it almost darkens the room around you as the light source behind him is blocked out by his mask, and he stares down at you before the voice reaches your mind again.
I know you mortals don't have a lot of time, so I will not waste the precious minutes that you have left. For those who come and seek something from me, I always give them 3 options, and let them decide what fate suits them best.
Didn't work out so well for that gentleman.
I think this is the I part, Jarek. I think this is the I part.
I mean, don't give him ideas, Thor.
What is required?
Your first option, and the one that I would love to watch, but wouldn't put any odds on, is the man or the creature that stands before you, Nivar, the guardian of my sanctuary, hasn't been defeated in 800 years. If you can fight him and best him, I will give you one wish. Your second option, if you are seeking an item from me, giving me an item, a creature, a soul, a possession of equal value. And third and finally, if you think your intentions are pure and your desires are truly focused, you may reach into the pool of my sanctuary and pull forth the item that you desire. But there is a cost.
What is your price?
Some it's their meager lives. For others, it's a limb. It all depends on the strength of the individual. Feel free to discuss. I have plenty of time.
Ballard, don't stick your hand in that thing. We saw what happened to the other guy.
Wait. So, again, going back to like, this seems pretty well guarded, right?
I mean,
Yes, why would we even fight?
Well, but like, how is Novan gonna get this? Is my real question.
He would
Well-
not hesitate to sacrifice in order to achieve the peace.
There are multiple Novans, so I don't think he minds wasting a few of them.
We cannot leave here without it.
do you think you could fight the thing and then just wish that Novan never gets the pieces? Or
This
that he can no longer perceive or touch them or utilize them?
remarkable creature has stayed alive for 800 years. There's no reason to kill it.
I mean, but it's a good point. Novan would not hesitate. His convictions are the most absolute I've ever seen. I mean, Braun was an intense guy, but Novan,
Yes,
You're
and
right,
you
Novan
managed to
has
defeat
next-
Novan in a cave. I don't know.
I'm gonna attempt to use my divine sense again, just to see what happens down here.
You would not feel any sort of feedback.
should we just ask him if there's? Because I mean, Novan has ill intentions. But I mean, this puzzle would not be anything for him if he has to sacrifice a limb. He's gonna do. He already sacrificed an eye.
That settles it. We need to try to get it.
Do you mean to say that this beast should be felled in single combat? It is the quest of all the Golden Hearts.
I would imagine even if an army of you men came storming down here that he would have no difficulty holding the line.
Size up this creature.
You want insight check?
Yeah.
I would look at him.
Everyone give
As
you an
well.
insight check.
Yeah.
We'll do an average. All
He's
right.
big.
All right. Thor, what you got for me?
I rolled a 10.
Okay, so we're probably sitting at around a 11 average, 12 average, somewhere in that range. To all of you, the next biggest thing that you have all fought is that beast thing that was spawned at the funeral. It's even slightly bigger than that and probably a bit wider, and it's somewhat self-sufficient. It's not just like a mindless tool. It seems to actually be like a thing. And the fact that it's been alive for 800 years, there's a lot of red flags, I guess you could say, about attempting to fight this thing. And in the back of your mind, there is the thought that you don't have the magical fallbacks that you usually do, so it would be a straight up, basically arm wrestling match with this thing, which, who knows?
Now, does it have metal?
It does not.
Okay. Well, it wouldn't
That
work anyways.
That wouldn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it is
could-
it's a scary thing. That's about the briefest description I can give you.
So it's
And
fight that
I'm-
go bobbing for apples, or what? What was the
Or
other
trade
option?
something of equal worth.
I will trade with you, Ziggurat.
But what about my pickaxe?
I find it amusing that you think you possess something of equal value.
Whether or not it is equal value is up to you.
Present your offering then.
Jarek will push between them and step forth. Would a life suffice?
Depends on the life that is left. You did mention that Ophilus has spoken with you.
I will not pretend to be the greatest among us. I have been with him. I have seen the futures that he believes I am wrought. If it is for this world, I will offer myself.
Eric.
Jarek, one moment. Why, if you're going to do that, why don't you just start by sticking your hand in there? Maybe that would work better.
That's gonna hurt like hell. No.
And dying isn't?
Look.
No one said anything about death.
I'm just saying. There's a lot going on here. Novin is winning. I can't pretend otherwise. Novin is he's good at what he does, and we have tried. And at every turn he has been there. Blade in hand, our throats at the ready, and our hard work for nothing. And no matter how much we've progressed, we finally have one piece that seems pretty good, but I can't believe Novin won't get past this. Maybe there's something I can offer in exchange for myself that will at least keep this piece safe.
Jarek, it's very noble of you, but let's try to figure this out first without that level of commitment. I'd like to go over to the edge of the cauldron here. How deep is it?
So as you step by, you get like a glance from the Toad Warrior as you move past, but the cauldron's probably like about 10 feet across. It probably stands up about maybe 5 feet out of the ground, and then there's like holes in in the side of it. This green slime is kind of dripping into. And as you step to the side and kind of glance over the rim, it appears that the bottom of this thing is endless. Again, the liquid is somewhat thick, so you can't see too far, but there doesn't appear to be a bottom. But the surface is this constantly kind of bubbling and shifting, almost like glittery might be the right term, where different swirls of dark green and light green kind of like dance around with each other and swirl. Looking at it for a few more seconds, like if you're giving it a good stare versus a simple glance, your mind would almost start like playing tricks on you, might not be the right term, but almost manifesting images and scenery kind of in front of you, stuff that you can't quite fully understand or discern, but like the shape of a house for a moment, and then a woman, and then a blade, and these images just keep kind of like rotating in front of you.
Derek, feel free to go with plan B if this turns out horribly. Excuse me, fellow, and I'll kind of take my shield arm and kind of push him off to the side to move him out from the front of the cauldron. Or try to, anyway. He doesn't have to move.
Okay. He
Ask
would
him, wait.
And I start to reach in with my right hand and then realize that's my sword arm and look back at the group and look back down, and I'll plunge my left hand down in there.
Ziggurat,
Decker, give me wisdom saving throw, constitution saving throw, strength saving throw, and then a history check.
Strength. And a history.
That's pretty good rolls. Some pretty good rolls.
I will give you the option, and this is not me dictating your decision, this is me trying to be as clear as humanly possible, that when you reach in, just as your fingertips, even through your gloves, touch the surface of this, there is a flash of excruciating agony. And if you want, I will let you do a dex save to pull away from it, or you can keep going.
No, I would just, that would probably make me stick it in faster just to try to get it over with.
All right. You reach in, and it is probably one of the hardest tasks you have ever had in the entirety of your life to concentrate more than just like simple one-word thoughts. There's so much pain and such a sudden rush of like instinctual flight or fright, or not fright, flight or fight, that your mind like basically goes blank. You start seeing white, and you just reach further and further, going past your hand, past your wrist, up to your elbow, before you feel your hand gripping something at the base. And you now have a hold of something.
And I'm going to try to pull the something out.
Here is a kind of strange question. I don't quite know how to go about it. Okay, we'll do this.
Did you lube up first? I'm just
Okay. Okay. As your arm appears from the surface of the liquid, bits of your flesh exposing as you're pulling out, some of the green acid still clinging to you even after you've wrenched your entire arm free, to everyone around you and to yourself, to some shock and horror, as you look down at your arm, you can already see bone. There is parts of your arm just completely missing. A lot of the tips of your fingers have just become skeletal nubs. And in your hand is a platinum crown.
I didn't come here for treasure. I came here for the fucking
God.
peace.
Jarek will rush over and wrap Derek's arm, or Decker's arm there.
I imagine I would probably faint at this point.
I was gonna ask how that's gonna go.
Yeah,
So Jarek, as you kind of catch Decker as he fades, still gripping the crown, the majority of his arm being eaten away, trying to wrap the horrific injury, your companion just...
No, damn it, Decker, damn it.
And as you are huddled with him, you would all hear that voice again.
Only those with pure intentions, and those who know precisely what they want.
Okay, wait. What about the item? Can't we give? What about the pickaxe? It's made by Choromon. I feel like that's exceedingly one of a kind and rare.
What did you give him for his arm?
I gave him what he truly seeked.
I'd like to look at that crown. Does it look like the crown of memories, just shinier?
Does not look like the crown of memories. There isn't anything that you could easily define about it. Like, there's nothing that jogs your memory or stands out to you. It looks like perhaps maybe a somewhat rudimentary crown, but it's clear that this thing is well cared for, might be the right term for it, and assumedly rather old.
It's got to be you or me.
I'm going to. I'd like to attempt a history check on the crown.
Okay.
Yeah, was there anything I got from my history roll, or was that just...
That was part of the challenge, I guess is what I would say. James, Valoran, as you were looking down at your fainted companion and your worried bard frantically wrapping his arm as the crown is kind of still half hanging from his lifeless grip, I guess might be the term to use. Again, there is nothing immediately in your knowledge that stands out to you, nothing that you would have like ready at the tip of your tongue or the front of your brain to match it to. It just looks like a platinum crown.
JD, make sure to wash his arm off.
I dig into my backpack and I have a potion of greater healing that I fish out and hand to Jarek.
Yeah. Can I do a medicine check to figure out if it would be better to try and get it in his mouth or pour it directly into the wound?
Give me a medicine check, yeah.
There you go. Oh God, this is... I'm gonna use some luck.
No, that's magic. No, okay. All right. Fumbling the bottle as you're trying to uncork it, like your hand's kind of shaking. It's like dancing from one palm to the other. You eventually kind of get the cork off, and you like aim it towards his mouth, and then you pause, and then you kind of aim it towards his arm, and then you kind of look at the bottle, and there's just like a moment of like feeling all the stress and all the weight of everything going on around you. You're just like, arm. And you decide, maybe correctly, maybe incorrectly, that using it as a swab, whatever the fuck you call it, might, thank you, Sav, might be the best treatment at this point.
Then so I've used my bedroll to wrap his arm. Just
Okay.
like a good helping the hot sauce, pour that bitch all up in his wound.
Okay.
Decker, no. This is madness. This is madness.
So Valoran just sort of gnashing his teeth at this sight. He looks back up at the
Navar is his name.
at Navar, and he says, "All right, Ziggurat, I have a trade for you. I will trade you your life for the peace of Toradan. If you think them equal."
It has been a long time since I've heard such a joke.
It is not a joke. Your housekeepers, who could not cleanse you of the parasite, could also not protect your heart from its jaws. Trade us the peace if you ever want to awaken to darken the skies again.
Give me an intimidation check.
That's my jam.
Swear to God. I'm not pulling my punches. If this beats it, I'm gonna fucking beat you.
Valoran, I assure you that even if your plan found its way to reality, it would be catastrophic on both sides. I assure you that if you try to strike at my heart, I will awaken, and I will destroy anything in my path before my life leaves my body. So if you are willing to gamble with your mortal friends, companions, and countrymen, then we can go that route.
Playing your game is already a gamble. I ask you, Ziggurat, why take the chance? You have dedicated enough centuries to guarding this artifact. Return it to the realm of we ants and go back to sleep.
If you are so determined, then perhaps you will succeed where your companion failed. Well, there is
I think he means
always
he got the
another
reach
option.
into the thing.
What did you say?
I
Me?
think you have to reach into the thing.
Thor, make your way back up this thing's guts and strike at its heart with the pale worm's jaws.
Oh, right. Oh, I guess I'll start turning around.
Thor, as you
Ah.
go to turn, Ganon would step in front of you and draw his sword. All right, big fella. I wouldn't make any sudden moves.
And now there's a Ganon in my way.
Two cows?
Derek's
I'm a
gonna
big
rush-
fan.
rush-
Yes, Jared.
I rush back up to. I'm sorry. Do you say Gerza?
Navarre?
Navarre. Yeah, not even close.
You
Navarre.
tried.
And just throw out his arms. Ziggurat, I beseech you once more. My life is yours to do with as you will. I will trade you all that I am, the experiences I have gone through, the lessons I have learned, the failures I have had, the victories I have cherished.
Derek, don't. You have nothing to prove.
No, I cannot watch you all mutilate yourselves when there is not even a guarantee it will succeed. I'm lucky. I've gotten through everything. You pray to a god every day who does not even answer. You have some faith in a friend. Remember, Valoran, we are friends.
Same time, I'm gonna just be there, standing in front of him and saying, I should just to get out of my way.
You're talking about Ganon, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah. He would just kind of like squaring off with you. Two cows. I'm a big fan. But if we'll be talking about killing Ziggurat, I can't let you through.
I didn't ask for permission from you. This is worth more than one life.
If you try to kill him, not only the swamp will be destroyed, maybe not even Liamus. It might stretch everywhere. If this is Ziggurat of the Night, who knows what he could cause?
Valoran walks up to Jarek, close enough to clasp his hand. And just in a conversational volume between the two of them, he says, Jarek, I don't have the words. I would have killed this timeless horror for you.
Valoran, we've killed a lot, haven't we?
We've also rescued much.
I know it's a gamble, but and he'll look back over at Decker. These dice are not coming up in our favor. If he'll accept it, it's so much simpler. Who knows? And Jarek will give Valoran's arm a little squeeze. I've gone down before. Maybe, worst case scenario, he kills me. I can beg. Go fill us back. You seem to be all about the second chances.
If there is any morality. In that God, he will accept you freely.
And look, if we're being honest here, Valorant, do you know? Do you know you can reach in and even get the leg, let alone survive?
No.
And I don't know that he'll even take this deal, but if it is something that is a guarantee, what better shot could we have?
Jarek, whatever happens next, I will make them all pay for these absurd games.
I'll cheer you on wherever I am. And look over towards Thor. Sorrowful look. Thor, it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay, big guy. And turn
Just
back.
Turn around. What are you doing?
Sigreth, what say you?
Navarre would take a step to the side, kind of glance or gesture back with his arm towards the cauldron.
Stare into my sanctuary, and I will judge your spirit.
Jarek will disrobe. Look, I still have some nice things in there, guys. So this
Yeah.
doesn't go okay.
What are you doing now? This is a little weird.
No, just like hiking a finger back at his backpack and everything. Just if this doesn't go well, use my stuff. Jarek will go over and clasp the sides of the cauldron, as long as I can do that without burning myself, and kind of hunch over.
So Jarek, as you're met with the swirling green film of the liquid, one of the bubbles that kind of rises from below, grows larger on the surface, eventually pops. And instead of popping and being replaced with air, it pops and reveals an eye with a pink iris kind of rotating. And then it swirls in the liquid and comes back around, and it's a yellow eye, and then a green eye, and then a blue eye. And eventually it stops and stares up at you. And as you stare into the eye, your mind is filled with visions. Visions of the past. The moment that you met Thor in a tavern on the road. The climb up the Dragoncliff Mines slopes. The fight with Jeremy the Golden Heart. Your meeting with Duke Braun in Kraylin. The saving of Corel. The death of Cranknot. The fight with Thor and Gorn in the depths of Bronze Shard. Burning down the manor in Folk with your new companion, Lord Valoran. The time you spent away from the Golden Hearts, learning about Torodan, trying to prepare the populace for what is to come. And it's not just the good, but also the bad. You see your wife, your children alone, the state of Corel, a man freezing to death up in the mountains, a mayor tied to a tree, a dead Hypatia on the ground. And as all of these memories kind of come flooding back, you're left with a simple reassuring understanding that this is it. Whatever path you were set upon, whatever reasoning or journey that you have been on up until this point has led to this moment, from the tavern burning down to joining up with the famous Golden Hearts. This is the end of your road. And as you are filled with that almost sense of relief, you would hear the voice come back into your mind.
It seems that Ophilus has quite the liking for you, Jarek.
I imagine he's actively crying and tears streaming down into the bowl around the eye. I was unworthy. But I thank him all the same.
I will accept your trade. Make your peace.
Wait, what does that mean? Jared, what is happening?
Valoran just presses his wrist with his cherished symbol to his sternum.
I'm still unconscious.
Doing great.
Sorry, that shouldn't be so Am I feeling like my soul leaving my body or something? Or
He said, make your peace. It was the last thing you got, so I guess you have a moment, sir.
Thor. There's no need to fight him. Just keep your arm ready. And when you see Novin, get him in the eye. So proud of you, my boy.
Can't be the end.
Well, hey, if Novin's right, then I'm just gonna go hang out and, the in-between for a while. And eventually I'll see y'all there too.
I guess just wait up for me. Apparently I'll be there pretty soon. Everybody's all timeless and old and have minutes left.
I know, what's up with that? Like, we only live
I
so
don't
long.
know.
I don't. It's insensitive. It's very. Everyone we meet is just like.
It's really just mean.
Valoran, take care of the kid. Knocking over to the Decker. I know the magic's not working, but if you can get him up top fast enough, maybe something. Pray to your God. She might listen.
I will. And he'll step up to sort of gather up Decker and like put him over one shoulder.
Zirath, just I know it's kind of past the point, but if we could just, do whatever not with the acid, that would be appreciated.
You will feel no pain.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Jarek will give him Thor and the Valor and Decker sandwich, both of them hugs. We're all gross and disgusting. This is awful, but
It's the Jarek way.
the Jarek way, disheveled and unkempt. And then go back up to Navarre. It's time. Go
So
save the world, guys.
as you speak the words, you would see that green energy that had found its way into Navarre's ear trail out slowly. And instead of heading back up towards the dome, it starts spiraling its way lazily down towards you. And it kind of like crosses over your shoulder and then wraps around your torso and basically encapsulates you in its energy. Before you feel yourself growing lighter, being lifted off of your feet, and then being brought towards the center of the room, being lifted up into the air. And as you hover in the middle of this dome, facing your companions down below you, you begin to like start slowly spin. And with each spin, you feel lighter and lighter. And the party beneath you, you would watch as pieces of Jarek begin to grow transparent, then become pieces of the green energy, kind of absorbing parts of him, starting with his arms, and then a leg, and then an ear, and then eventually, as his torso and his head are the last things left, and his figure is mostly gone, he would get one last look at you all before he completely dissolves into the green mist, and it trails back up into the dome. As a moment passes by, Navarre would step to the side, and you would see a large gray torso floating in the acid. And that's where we'll take our 10-minute break. So as the party get their last glimpse at their fat, disgusting, beloved companion, Navarre steps back to his original position when you all had entered the cave, beside the cauldron, revealing... It's hard to make out at first, but putting the pieces together, no pun intended, you see the floating torso of Tordan, matching the same kind of gray, shriveled skin you had seen on the other limbs, floating in the pool of acid in the cauldron. There's no more voices. Navarre isn't moving. The room is relatively silent as Ganon kind of slowly sheaves his sword and just watches the party.
Thor, can you please? And Valoran makes like sort of shouldering Decker at him, like making to hand him off.
Yeah. And I'll walk over and I'll just cradle Decker, still just kind of looking up where Jarek
Decker,
was.
go ahead and give me a con saving throw real quick.
Who?
Decker.
Me?
You, yes.
19.
Okay. You would be beginning to kind of regain consciousness at this point. You're not fully awake yet. You're kind of in that groggy, recuperating stage, but the agony that you had felt on your arm previously when you had passed out has subsided a little bit. It's still incredibly uncomfortable, and you can't feel your arm beneath your elbow, but you still have that almost like death grip clutching of the crown in your hand as you're put over Thor's shoulder.
I just kind of look around. I'm being carried by Thor at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Set me down.
Are you sure you can walk?
I believe so. And I'm able to stand up all right.
Yeah, you're a little wobbly when you get set down. You might have to reach out and kind of use Thor for a moment, but you are able to eventually kind of plant your feet and somewhat return to normal.
What happened?
He's gone.
Did he give us the peace at least?
Well, not that he.
Jarek, do you have that healing potion?
Valoran steps up to gather up Jarek's belongings first. His clothes and his pack and his loot, and walks them to Ganon and holds them out and says, "Carry these back."
He just would silently kind of scoop them up and kind of give you a little slow, silent nod.
And then I return to where the torso is floating and try to fish it out.
Just scooping bare hands. What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the trade has been made. If there's anything to Ziggurat's word.
Gloves? No gloves? What are you wearing?
I've got gauntlets on.
Okay. As you reach down towards the surface, and you try to make a effort to not dive your hands into the acid and just kind of grabbing the torso. As you make contact, you feel this sudden and immense rush of doom. This just almost like a light switch. Your mind immediately swirls around to the grief of losing a friend, the futility of the quest that you are on, the absolute pointlessness of everything that has happened thus far. But you were able to grab the torso with a little bit of the acid kind of touching the metal of your gauntlet, just kind of eating away ever so slightly as you pull it from the surface. You can feel the presence of Tordan just seeping into you the longer you hold it.
Among the human or whatnot remains that are nearby, is there a like a cloak or a cape or something along those lines among their bodies?
I would say probably not, due to the corrosiveness of the room. Best thing that I could probably give you is a empty breastplate that you could lay the torso on like a platter and carry it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
And once I get that kind of tucked in, I look back toward the cauldron and say, "Slumber long, Ziggurat. Sleep until all civilization is weathered to dust." And then turn my back on it.
Did he do it?
You're gonna have to be specific on
Is Jarek
who
truly
he.
gone?
Yeah. Yeah, he saw what happened to you. I don't know. He just gave himself up. He didn't think there was another way.
There's always another way.
Not this time, apparently.
Sick of the powerful playing games with us. Always another way.
Valorn goes stomping by, leaving with some urgency.
Is the plan to return all the way up to the surface, or is there business along the way?
I don't try anything on the way out personally.
Decker and Thor?
I would try to find the healer.
So, marching your way back up the obsidian stairs, returning to the winding caves, and then eventually to the open, broader rooms that the kobolds had kind of been filling, picking up your healer and your herbalist along the way. You would see the kobolds watching you walk by in almost a bit of awe, almost a bit of just like amazement. And a few, as they would pass, would almost like half bow or lower their heads as you go. There is clearly some sort of potentially almost religious meaning to having people pass the gauntlet of Ziggurat or go into the depths and return, and there's just some reverence there as you walk by. But going through the same tribulations you had to on the way down, having to squish past the worm again, go through the semi-acidic hallway full of water, and then descending back up through the mouth, as soon as you get out, Lavelle, your healer, would immediately start unwrapping Decker's arm, which, again, you still have no feeling in, and she would begin pouring whatever spells and abilities and ointments she has upon you, and begins working on you rather furiously. It's going to be several long minutes of her doing that, as she's put you on the ritual circle just outside the mouth, and is working on your arm, as everyone else is kind of milling about almost aimlessly, kind of unsure of what the direction is right now.
Lavelle, can you...
The burning is very severe.
Not
It's
worry
certainly...
about- It's not my arm. Is there any way you can bring the fat man back?
That's
You're a
certainly
healer, right?
beyond... that would be beyond my means.
Can his arm be saved?
I think I can return it to the point where you are able to use it, but it will not look the same. We
That's
would need
what
a...
gloves are for. Gives a shit.
We can find a more expert healer outside the swamps that can restore it fully if need be.
Thank you.
But she would continue working away. She would almost immediately go through the process of kind of removing the pain for the short term so she can work on actually healing it. Eventually, after about 10 or so minutes, you would be able to start wiggling your fingers a bit, kind of feel your arm kind of returning somewhat normal as she's basically rebuilding chunks of muscle that you have lost, restoring them with her somewhat limited magical abilities that she has.
I would like to just instantly look out for Novin.
Give me a general perception check.
$16.
Okay. Stepping out of the cave, kind of giving a small glance around the basin that you're in, it's clear that it's reaching late evening. The sun's kind of setting off in the distance through the thick fog. There isn't any, people standing around or creatures or anything out of the ordinary. It's eerily quiet and eerily still. That thick fog kind of dancing around the magical perimeter that the willow tree kind of creates, leaving you at the base of the bowl that makes up this basin.
So where do we go now?
Back to the caravan to continue our journey. We already
Great guide.
And Ganon would kind of gently lay down Jarek's possessions on the ritual circle next to Decker, stand up and give you all a look. This certainly hasn't gone the way that I thought it would. I imagine you all want a guide back, but I think I might have found my purpose here, strangely enough.
You gonna go try to kill that giant thing?
I think I'm on the side of Ziggurat, though I think that's probably a rather unpopular opinion amongst you all right now.
Valoran, not even looking in Ganon's direction, asks the caravan guard that was minding Clara and Lavelle to take up Jarek's belongings.
You would certainly do so. And Ganon would kind of look around again. It is about to be nighttime. Traversing the swamp at night isn't the easiest. Perhaps camping here for the night might be for the best before setting off in the morning.
Probably not a bad idea.
Whatever. And then I'll just find a tree and sit down next to it. Or something.
So Decker, once you are dealt with by Lavelle, your arm, where the tips of your fingers and like chunks of your forearm and large patches of your skin, where, previously it just been a normal, healthy arm, where the healing has been done is now dried and crackled and somewhat gray in the places where it's had to be rebuilt. The tips of your fingers almost like constantly tingle, and there's just like the slightest shake in your hand. Nothing super noticeable or obnoxious or disabling. It's just, no matter what you're doing, it almost constantly is kind of shifting. I should also switch the map. Totally forgot about that. But, I guess you all set up camp or sleep for the night?
Grudgingly.
You would notice, as Ganon is kind of denied the conversation, he would take another vial from his chest, he would down about half of it, and then pour the other half out into the water and kind of silently wait a few moments and then go about setting up his own sleeping quarters. But is there anything you all are doing before finding sleep?
Valorant volunteers for the first watch.
I'm going to look at the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can discern about it?
History check, my friend. You cannot, maybe due to the pain-killing spells cast upon you or the traumatic events that have just taken place, you can't pull exact details about this crown. But there's this kind of nagging feeling in the back of your mind that makes you feel like it is more valuable to you personally than its value as like a piece of jewelry. But you can't place exactly why.
God, I'm having a complete mental moment here. The goddess's name?
Arovica?
Rovica. I would just fire off a very short Rovica. You've spoken to me once. Make this mean something. Make this be worth something. And be with Jarek. He deserves a good woman in his life right now.
Is everyone doing an Arovica prayer this evening?
Valorant also has one, yeah.
Thor?
Nope.
Okay. Decker and Valorant, go ahead and give me a wisdom check.
Valorant says on his first watch, when he's guaranteed some amount of solitude, Rovica, I am told you wish to be pursued, desired. On Jarek's grave, allow me to confess my desires. I will not wish merely for victory in battle or the deaths of enemies. Any wild dog biting at the necks of rivals would have the same hopes. I would have the strength to change it all. The Golden Hearts will not preserve Asmiliath for the plague sores who would not defend it. We shall claim it from Tordan and begin a golden age.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you advantage on that one, sir. I don't know if you'll be... Okay, we'll take that first one. Jesus. What are you doing on your watch, Valorant?
So when I sit down, probably similar to Decker, just find something to rest my back against, and actually speak the command word for the glaive. Now that we're outside of that field, which is also what he's named the glaive, Sinistrine, in order to light the flames and sit there under its light and offer his prayer to Arovica looking up out of the swamp.
As you are sat at the edge of the group, the rest of them slumbering hopefully peacefully, sat beneath the warm glow of your glaive, reaching out to this goddess that hopefully has her vision set upon you. You feel your conviction, your emotion, your general drive almost forcing this prayer higher and further than ever before, almost forcing whatever this goddess is to at least take a passing glance at you in this current moment. And as you're sat there, your prayers reaching out, a few silent moments coming back in return, you might feel a small second of frustration that there wasn't some immediate feedback. But as your head kind of tilts back up and you're looking at the stars, even though they're just faint, muted little fuzzy pinpricks through the fog, the embers that flow from your glaive kind of drift lazily up into the night sky as they kind of, swirl and dance, and the majority of them fade out and disappear. A handful of them stay lit, stay bright, almost grow brighter than they initially were coming off the flame. And as you watch them with a little bit of curiosity, you would see the shape of it slowly kind of molding into the vague silhouette of a face, rather slender face. And as the face is almost staring down at you, it being partially see-through due to its makeup of embers, you see the corners of its lips just kind of twitch up ever so slightly, and then the whole thing kind of wipes away and disappears into the night.
Valoran smirks back up and raises one eyebrow, and then takes a deep breath and takes his watch.
Thor, is there anything you are doing throughout the night, sir?
Guess I would have the last watch probably. If
Sure.
I think. Yeah, I wouldn't pray to a Rovika though.
Bunch of simps
I would
anyway.
just feel it. Yeah, I know, for real. I would actually talk to someone else, or try to. But not in like a prayer way. It would just be sort of shouting out into the void. Alright, listen here. Phil or Phil, I don't know your name. It doesn't really matter. Whoever you are, wherever you are. I just want to thank you for the time that you gave me. That I wouldn't have gotten before. Although it definitely should have been more. I mean, he's only like, what, middle age? Come on. Yeah, that's pretty much.
I'm trying to decide if I should reveal something yet. Thor, give me a wisdom check with advantage, sir.
These are my favorite.
I believe in you. This would be the time.
Hey, it's only a -1. Okay. 10.
10.
Yeah.
10.
Did you take advantage on it?
Yeah, I got a 4 and a 4 and an 11. So
Hey, Jarek. Give me a wisdom save with advantage.
Oh, on. I definitely did not delete him.
God,
No.
that was quick.
Are we on the
I
grid?
need the
You said
character
just
slot.
a wisdom save.
Yes.
I think that came through.
16 was the first roll.
Oh,
You have
said-
advantage.
Advantage, yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay. Did you want to give that a lucky die?
Is he still lucky? I'll take it.
I mean, you may as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Thor, as you are sat in the swamp, the eerie silence kind of being the only answer to your call out, you feel that like strange kind of pang of loneliness, or I guess being like forgotten about, as JD isn't there to harass or make fun of or talk about all the horrible shit he's done. You've been left in this weird state of having to be without for the first time in a very long time. And as that pain kind of like reaches your heart and kind of makes your chest kind of pull in, and your barbarian rage can't push that pain away, you feel a small hint of warmth in the center of your chest, as it feels as though Jarek is sat right beside you. And as you glance down to see if he's there, he isn't. But inexplicably, his loot is laid out beside you. Untarnished, the burns from Chorman have been removed. It is just left there, very peacefully sitting beside you on the ground.
Just kind of look around, make sure there's nobody around me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll just pick it up. I imagine it's like this to me.
Yeah, it's like a children's toy in your hand.
Yeah. And I'll just start fiddling with the strings.
Give me your performance check.
Wow, I have a +1 to performance. A 12.
Okay. Would it be fitting that Thor attempts a crude rendition of Jeremy's ballad?
Oh gosh, yeah, sure.
So as your watch drifts away, there is a somewhat passable version of Jarek's first song written with the Golden Hearts.
Definitely misses a few words and doesn't sound great. Probably wakes up everybody else, but yeah.
But as the sun begins to kind of raise on the other side of the sky, and Ganon, who again always seems to wake up at the crack of dawn, kind of like sits up straight, looks around, glances over at you, little grunt as he stands up and walks over. Two cows, you feeling any better this morning? I see that you've strumming along there.
Feel great. Are you ready to move out?
I don't know all your how you guys operate, but did we want to make a grave or a memorial, or just leave it be, or?
Not here.
I'd rather make a memorial where somebody might actually see it.
All
It
right.
deserves more than that.
Well, it's gonna be about a week's travel through the swamp. Gotta collect the Hydra heads on the way back. back to Black Hollow, I guess.
Somebody wake up Valorant.
He climbs. He don't think that he's brought his tent under the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
so he's just laying on his bedroll with the breastplate with the torn in piece almost touching him, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe having found some vines from the swamp to sort of loop through what's left of the breastplate to use as like a handle.
Mm-hmm.
And he wakes up just from the sound of Thor's footsteps as he approaches.
Hey, we're you ready to move?
Most definitely. He gets up and gathers himself.
So, without any further delays, Ganon would kind of, make sure everybody's ready to go, get the bug flowers prepared yet again, kind of remind everybody the general process of traveling through the swamp, and then lead you out of the deep and out of the basin and back towards the more fringe part of Liamus, or Liamus' swamp. Again, it's going to be about a week-long travel, 7 different days. There's no plan to stop anywhere besides just camping for the night and continuing to travel. Would there be any conversations, things you're looking out for, things you wanted to look into, anything of that kind?
Valorant checks in with Decker and Lavelle about how Decker's arm is.
Is it still the same?
Yeah. And her general response that you kind of got earlier is, there is a way to return it back to full. It just requires someone much beyond her skill set.
Am I functional?
Yeah, everything's fine. Like, the twitching isn't gonna, like, get in the way of you using your shield or, whatever other things you use your offhand for. It just is, like, the slightest bit of annoyance that kind of reminds you of what has happened. And then, obviously, the physical deformity is another thing, but you probably have that mostly covered with your gloves and your shirt and stuff, so.
Fine, Valorant. Much worse has happened to better people.
Decker and I have the utmost respect for what you tried to do.
I appreciate that. Wish it had worked. But thank you. I don't know really what to say right now. Do you have any idea what this bloody thing is? And don't tell me a crown. I know it's that.
We'll ask Mr. Moon about it when we get back to the caravan. He will shed some light on the subject if there is any.
He wasn't playing games and giving trinkets. Maybe this will have some worth in the end, towards a greater good.
If he can be believed, then it should hold some great value for you.
Just hope it wasn't some... Valor and I thought my intentions were pure. I wanted nothing more than to...
As far as I am concerned, your intentions are pure. Whatever Ziggurath's game, we will give it no more credence.
Much of my life has been focused on money and the influence it can buy, the power it can buy, the women, a privilege. Been quite spoiled by it. The fucker threw a goddamn crown at me to remind me of that. It worked.
I will not believe that it is that simple, Decker. If it were, you would have gotten a bag of platinum coins instead. And though Jarek sacrificed everything, it does not overshadow your attempt to me. You are both to be honored.
We should carry
And
on.
so we will.
So there would be an evening, perhaps 2 or 3 days into the journey, right at the edge of the deep, where Ganon would kind of sit down wherever you guys have kind of rested for the night, again, propping your feet up, and he would glance over at Valoran with kind of a inquisitive look. Lord Valoran.
When he speaks to him directly, Valoran's head snaps in his direction, and he stares embers at him.
I don't know why you're so upset with me. I've done everything that I've been asked to do. I didn't get in the way of nothing.
We've lost a
And I will
friend,
ask,
Ganon. Tread lightly, please. You're fine. Just understand where we're at.
I feel for you all. Even though I did call him Fat Boy, I enjoyed the man. He seemed good enough. I've lost friends. I know what it's like, and I'm sorry. But Lord Valoran, you were gonna offer something up. You were prepared to give Ziggurat something, and I'm curious what it was.
you heard what it was.
Must have slipped my mind.
The
I
light.
should hope not.
The light? Is that what you
I
said?
offered Ziggurat his own life.
Oh, the life. Okay, gotcha. Alright. I seem to remember there was another thought before that.
It was always that.
You understand why I couldn't let that happen.
If we had taken that road, it would also have been your life, Ganon. And when we leave this swamp, make sure that I do not see you again.
Don't think that's fair, but... Alright.
He turns his head away.
Alright. Right. There be any other moments, questions, things to consider for the rest of the journey?
Thor would every night take the last watch to make sure everybody was like dead asleep, and then he'd try to play the lute and talk to Jarek as if he was there.
Damn. Got me fucked up, man. Alright.
That would just be like a nightly reoccurrence.
Okay.
I'd like to think that sometimes Thor would get the notes right, and the lute would just hum a little bit.
Seth, there
Stop.
is.
You need to just be quiet right now.
There has to be a little one shot in our future, sir. There is some stuff we gotta cover. But alright. Eventually, Ganon would stop where you guys defeated the Hydra and collect the head. He would very hesitantly ask if you would all help transfer the rest, but not push if you all were prickly about it.
Just like pick up one or two or however many I can carry and keep walking.
Valoran is the torso bearer. He does not care about Hydra heads.
Okay. So we'll say we take 3 back. That's reasonable. Alright. So, after again about a week's travel through this mucky, gross, filthy, harsh swampland, and after nearly about a month of being away from civilization at this point, it's been quite some time, you would return to Black Hollow, kind of seeing it off in the distance through the fog before reaching the docks and clambering back up, your feet finding purchase on solid ground for the first time in quite some time.
When they get back, the first thing Valor does is goes back to the caravan to get his horse and his boots, and to tell them to get ready to leave.
I would go straight to Moon.
Mhm.
I want to know what this thing is.
Thor, one thing that I should mention is before you leave the swamp and actually make it into town, Buffy would appear to kind of like, almost like a token appearance to be like, glad you're alive. I'm alive too. And then, when you go into town, obviously, it would dip, but there would be something there if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'd go over and see Buffy since I haven't seen Buffy in forever. Just kind of be grateful I didn't lose 2 friends to the swamp. And probably still have Hydra heads with me, so tell them I have to carry these into town, and then we'll see each other soon.
Yeah, Buffy might give you a little passing by rub, maybe lick one of the Hydra heads a little bit curiously, and kind of just wander around you for a brief moment to kind of, I don't know, see you again before moving away.
Yeah, don't eat the meat, Buffy. It's apparently a wild ride.
As it's stumbling away, you see it kind of shift a little bit unsuredly, from side to side before it kind of finds its path and walks off.
I would definitely I would say goodbye to Ganon, because obviously I have the heads, so I drop them off, and I'd probably be the last one to see him because I imagine nobody else is gonna be there to say anything to him. So I'll just look at him, put my hand out to shake his hand, just so you know. Sorry it necessarily ended this way, but I do respect what you did, and standing up for yourself. It's very admirable, but just not the way it probably should have gone.
Would firmly shake your hand in return, kind of give you a little bit of a smile the first time since the events have taken place. 2 cows, I gotta say, not looking forward to fighting you. Pretty sure you just have your way with me and I'll be on the ground, but it might have come to blows if not for Jarek's choice.
To be frank, I would have rather killed you, but I don't know if you can really blame me for that.
I'm sorry that you lost a friend. I hope that Lord Valorant seems to be a bit venomous towards me, and that's fine, I guess. But I respect you two cows, and I think that you, there's gonna be a lot of pain. But eventually it should come to you that he did something meaningful in the end, which not everyone gets to do.
I sure hope so. Because I can tell you, the last couple of times that we've gotten something like this hasn't gone well. So, hopefully this is the time. Otherwise, it's all for nothing.
But perhaps something's looking out for you.
I hope so, at this point. Something, at least. But, don't think too much on Lord Valorant. He gets angry every time something happens that doesn't go his way, so just a personality trait. But, I'm sure in time it will be better, as you say.
Well, I'm gonna hug my way back into the deep and try and discover this sense of home that I've found here. Ziggurat, though he seems a bit harsh, I'm sure, to you, has kept this domain protected for some time. There must be something to him.
Well, gotta find a way to figure out what that even means, or, whatever is going on with you at this point. And if it seems important, give us a shout if you can. Although I don't think you're of the magic-y type, but
Perhaps I'll get Ziggurat to shoot you a little note.
yeah, just a tiny message in my brain. As long as it doesn't, fry my brain or take an arm or something like that. Well,
Take care of
see you
yourself,
later,
two
man.
cows. I wish you the best.
I wouldn't.
Weirdly
have,
enough,
I wouldn't have avoided him. I probably would have said goodbye to.
Okay.
weirdly
Pretty
enough,
boy.
I wish you the same.
I've been prettier, but
The ladies do love scars.
there's scars and then there's mutilation, but see what we can do about that. I made a mistake, Gannon. I believe he probably did deserve a monument there. Would you mind setting up something suitable?
I could do that, yeah. Is there something specific you're looking for?
I'll just perhaps a small shrine and keep a fresh sock on it.
It's gonna be a difficult task in the swamp, but I'll do my best.
Fresh being relative. Thank you, Gannon.
Put that gloves of lube into good work and take care of yourself, Decker.
Reach my hand out to shake his hand.
He would shake your hand.
And it would lube as good. Yeah.
You gotta like pull it back and it's all slimy and there's like a tendril connecting like his finger to your glove. He's like, alright, pretty boy. And then he and turns to walk off. But anything else the party would be taking care of in this time frame? Is there a plan for Jarek's closure, or is that a Corel thing or a Kralin thing? What's the plan there?
Yeah.
Valorant seeks out Thor and says, "Do you suppose you should use that?" And he points at the stick man with the sending stone.
Carl, yep.
I was gonna actually say that I forgot that I was gonna do this, but at some point I would have definitely sent a message to Croak or whoever saying like, "Hey, I need you to respond to this message. Please reply." Like something like that.
Can you tell who sends the message back? Is that clear? I can't remember if we established that.
He's sending it to Croak.
Well, it's
Croak's the only
using the
person that can get it.
stone. So
It's a
Croak has the
stone,
other
yeah.
stone, so he would be... I think there was one time where Thor sent a message pretending to be Jarek, right? So it's-
Right, between the
yeah.
stone.
Yeah.
It's not the spell, it's the stones.
If I knew how the spell worked, I would definitely say that it, this is Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Please respond back. It's important.
Okay, yeah, this would be how this works. You wouldn't get a response initially, whatever night or morning that you sent this message out. You kind of almost forget that you sent it, just kind of hoping that someone is there on the other end. And you kind of forget to check it, other things are going on, big plans are going on with a piece of Toradan now. So when Valorant, gestures towards it, you would notice that it does actually now have a message.
I would just say, "Oh yeah, I sent the message. Oh yeah, I sent the message when we were on the road. Hold on," and I'll just put my thumb on the gemstone and just.
Jarek / Seth, I guess at this point, you want to do the honors and count for me? Tell Jarek that his actions have consequences. Did you all believe that killing my sister would be forgotten? I think that'd be it.
Hold on.
Oh no. Callie!
Bad news bears, guys.
Seth, come back as Callie.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god, dude. That'd be such a plot twist.
I can't believe all of you thought it was so easy. I can't even do a lady voice.
Jesus. Come on, Thor, sit your butt down. Daniel. Put your fucking earbuds in. Thor.
Oh, hey, what's up? Sorry, my headphones died. Find
So-
new ones.
Message received.
Sure, I don't know what it said, but
Oh, do you not hear that?
no.
Okay. I'll try to repeat it to the best of my ability. Shit. Tell Jarek his action has consequences. Did you really believe that killing my sister would be forgotten? I think was the words.
Oh god. Maybe he just killed himself to not have to deal with that town.
What?
So that was from Krog, as you know. Apparently his Krog's sister is dead, and he thinks Jarek did it.
What?
I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was Callie and Hypatia.
That's the joke.
I'm gonna be quiet now.
I'm still unconscious.
I'm still unconscious.
I just drank. Don't make jokes whenever I have water in my mouth.
Thorn,
doesn't-
Valorant.
That makes no sense, Thor.
What do you mean? What am I missing? I feel left out of something.
What was the message exactly?
It was. No, just. Exactly.
Thor, my good friend, I'm fairly certain that's from Hypatia's sister.
Son of a. I knew we should have killed her.
Well,
I really
fear
want
not.
to.
We will have our opportunity.
Wait, so she has the stone.
Then she's been to Corel.
She might still be there.
For Corel's sake, we should hope not.
But how do we know? She could have been sending these messages the whole time.
We'll have to send one of the hand to go investigate. We don't have time.
We never have enough time for anything.
No. I want to have a banquet in
Why?
whatever tavern Black Hollow has in Jarek's honor tonight. Will you spread the word?
Yeah. Yeah,
Do
I
I
can do
have
that.
do I have any contact? There should still be contacts from my family in the.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have like an actual almost like factory building here, basically. So
Yeah, I would. I think I should be able to pull some strings to have the best food and drink.
all right, yeah, that's certainly reasonable.
So the
I
Valorant
would-
requires the caravan guards to stay guarding the caravan under the circumstances, so
Mhm.
they'll have to be brought their banquet plate, but everyone else, one way or another, whether it's the Caspian family or the company chest, is invited to get whatever they want at the tavern
The Black Pit.
at the Black Pit, as the entire group, Valorant demands that tables are shoved together end to end so that the entire company can sit down together except for the guards and eat and drink to Jarek's memory.
That would certainly be achievable.
Or would spread the word by individually knocking on everyone's door and just saying banquet and then running away and going around.
So as the relatively small town of Black Hollow is bombarded by preparations for this impromptu banquet for Jarek Dissel, whoever that is, the town lights up. There, like everybody that was kind of milling about is now put to work as, extra bread, extra wine, extra meat. Everything has to be procured. Pots and pots and pots of coffee have to be prepared for such a extravagant event. But using Decker's contacts and Valoran's, I guess, decisiveness or leadership skills and Thor's marketing, the large, well, reasonably large for the town of Black Hollow gathering of not only the Golden Hand and the Golden Hearts and the wagon besides the caravan guard, but, the workers that Decker would kind of vaguely know that work for his family in the town, some of the Colmac coming from the swamp side of town to also pay their respects and kind of hear tales and stories of the Golden Hearts trek through the swamp, and then also the tales outside of the swamp. There would be plenty of revelry. The actual caravan hands that have traveled with Jarek would tell stories of, that one time that he saw a dead squirrel on the road and vomited on the caravan, and then he had to clean off the company sigil, and, various, tales that kind of follow that particular route.
So as the banquet is underway and people are getting through their first plate at least, Valoran will stand up and ask for everyone's attention. And when the room quiets down, Valoran says, Jarek Dissel was not a fearless man. I personally witnessed as the things that we encountered on this journey filled him with fear. But Jarek never fled. Afraid as he was, he overcame his fear to stay with the Golden Hearts, to leave behind his mundane past. And so I say that Jarek Dissel was among the bravest of men. He is a hapless barkeep no longer. But will be known as a savior of Asmiliath. A hero and a legend. We will conquer the challenges of our age. And at each turn, remember he who conquered first his own fear. To Jarek.
Jarek.
As you send out your toast, Valorant, and there's many cries and cheers and cup bashings, the local bard, a young woman that's just kind of starting out on her adventure, is kind of brought up to the stage and kind of steps up behind you and, is holding this somewhat hobbled together lute. Lord Valorant, would it be okay if I play his song?
I can think of nothing that would please him more.
And then she would kind of look at Thor down like halfway through the table, who still has Jarek's lute, who I imagine someone at some point would have passed along that Thor had been playing it. She would kind of wave you up to the stage.
Oh, oh, all right, this is happening. Okay. No, I'll go up.
So as Thor and the young bard kind of take the stage, she begins kind of like plucking along to get a kind of rhythm going with Thor. Eventually, Jeremy's ballad would begin to pluck up for the banquet hall.
Hearken, good people, come flock around. I come to tell this in rhyme and sound. A humble miner, 'twas where he began. Through bravery and courage was evil slain. A village desolate, the woman were weeping. Our great hero Jeremy could not be caught sleeping. He strove night and day, continued to fight. With his true heart of gold, he would banish this blight. The men of the town had all disappeared. 'Twas death on the wind that the woman did fear. Perhaps stolen deep within the dark, dreary night. The future of the town had faded from sight. For our brave hero this he could not stand. He gathered his courage and adventurous band to dwell the dark mines and brave all the threats, to bring back the menfolk from the evil's dark nets. The fool of a mayor, the glory he claimed, pointing fingers, trying to spread the blame. The lies he told next to Jeremy seemed placid, and the mayor's excuse like himself felt flaccid. To the mines our hero did bravely stride. From no monster, no beast, nor dragon would he hide. Regarding the dangers of Maiden he did teach to his party, and I behold they did find a breach. Golden hearts rode in, he must take the lead. With love for his fellows, he would not let them bleed. To face any danger, to answer any call, brave Jeremy would rise, he was there for us all. Not a son, not a god, not even a noble. His humble beginning, born truthful local. A man of the people, though recently wounded. No injury could stop him, he would not be excluded. Upon four goblins did the party stumble, evil in heart and stature quite humble.
I love to imagine Thor
Rogue and
singing
stench the beasts did bear, gross teeth, filth clothes, and mated hair.
I rolled a
Great
performance
Sir
check of
Jeremy
19.
did not hesitate.
Take it away, sir.
The golden blade he swung to decapitate,
Ew.
to avenge his brethren and safeguard the young. The flavor of vengeance tastes sweet in his tongue. Through his might and glorious deeds, the beasts were severed right down to their knees. No sooner brave Jeremy arrived in the town than the fool of a mayor tried to talk him down. People cannot deny.
Come on, boys.
Golden
Hearts save the mind. And people cannot deny. Golden hearts save the mind.
The crowd was filled with bardic inspiration.
Don't go spending that all in one place.
And even though I know James is going to murder me, I think that is a fitting time to end the session.